Oh my gosh. Okay, everyone. I am so glad to be back doing another cosplay video, and it's been a while, so please forgive me. I know that my thought process and my talking is going to be a little more chaotic than usual. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn. I am a cosplayer, and I started this very interesting series a few years back called the Controversial Cosplay Series. And essentially what it is whenever I have an idea of something that either is thought-provoking, upsets me, makes me feel a lot of feelings, or I notice problems happening in the cosplay community, I come on here and I talk to you guys. I come on here and say my own opinions, my experience being around this community for 18 years and seeing it grow and change, and also to get your guys' thoughts and feelings about the situations, to see if I am not the only one out there who might be experiencing this. So one thing I like to bring up at the start of all my videos that makes me very unique from other creators is that I am not sponsored or affiliated with anyone or anything. When I do reviews on here, it is because I spent my own money, my own time to go to events, and I'm just coming on to talk about them. When I bring up cosplay subjects or talking about things I'm making, all of those things are very organic and natural. There's no money behind it at all. So every opinion that you get is going to be very blunt and honest, and I will not sugarcoat things on this channel. Now, the Controversial Cosplay Series was something I came up with forever ago because there were so many topics that I noticed people in our community would not touch with a 6-foot pole because they did not want to get people saying, I don't agree with you, unfollow, because then they'll lose money. And I was like, ooh, great. Some stuff I can talk about because I have really strong opinions. Now it's almost Halloween. In just a few days, it is going to be October 31st, which this year falls on a Friday, which is amazing. So for all of you guys getting ready for Halloween, I thought let's do a controversial video that is scary, spooky, icky. So today I'm going to be talking about cosplay things that give me a complete ick. And if you guys don't know what that means, essentially it is like a term of endearing that people have been using for things that give them an instant visceral reaction when they see or hear about them. So when we're saying things that give me the ick, it is usually actions people, other people do, that just really make you go, ugh, I don't agree with that. I don't like that. That makes me feel bad. Or that is really not good at all. I don't want anything to do with it. And there has been a lot of these that I have personally experienced in our community. So I've kind of broken it down into 3 subsections so that I can talk about kind of overall actions that give me the ick, and then the actual things that have happened to me or others, or that keep popping up in my algorithms that I see over and over. So first off, let's dive into fake drama. Fake drama gives me the ick so much for so many different reasons. I think that the part of my brain that is really good at analyzing data really fast and watching people's human emotions and reactions, they actually say that you can watch another person's eye movement to tell if they're lying. And they have these people that sit in courts and actually watch and analyze people's body movements, their eye movements, as they're retelling what happened to them or stories or their experience or something. And these analysts can actually say that person is making this up based on how they're moving, where their eyes are going, what they're doing, all this stuff. Now, one of the things that gives me a complete ick in our community, and I keep seeing it on my algorithm, probably because it's dramatic, which is people just making up stuff. And when I'm talking about making up something, I am talking about telling a cosplay story that is just completely insane and definitely not real at all. To the point where I don't even think there's an inkling of truth in there. I think it is someone came up with this story in their mind and then they went, oh, you know what? this would make a great story for my Instagram or like my cosplay page, and I'm gonna go put it up there. And then it gets shared and liked a million times because people are so like shocked by it or unsettled that they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. When really, they're like, that didn't happen. And it's pretty obvious because if you have any sort of rational or critical thinking skills, you can put all of these things together and go, wait a second, this doesn't really make sense. I have heard recent stories, and in my videos, I am not here to call people out, make them feel bad, or get them attacked. So when I talk about this stuff, I'm going to talk about it in a very abstract way. However, as we know, algorithms like to share things all around the world. So if I talk about something, you guys have probably already seen or heard about it. One story that really stuck out to me recently was a cosplayer saying that during a cosplay competition, they were electrocuted multiple times because of faulty wiring in this competition. So I think what they meant was either the microphone, the headset, or something about the sound equipment on the stage itself was short-circuiting or having some issues. But what they said in the story was that I was electrocuted multiple times on stage during a competition, and yet I still had to finish with my entire like performance before the end, and I just stuck it out and stuck through it. Anyone with rational thinking skills can, number one, tell you if you are electrocuted, you will not be talking or breathing. You will be on the ground in a comatose state. Like, that is what electrocution is. It is not a like little charge zap, like when you take something out of the dryer. That's like static that you can get. If that little zap, sometimes that little zap hurts. But that is not electrocution, that is just static. And when you touch something metal, the static is, connecting with it, and then it's gone. If you touch it again, it usually doesn't happen again. Getting electrocuted is very, very serious, and it's very scary. And had they also had that happen to them, multiple other people on that stage, including staff or the other members, would have also had it happen to them, but no one else brought it up. So it's kind of like you just put two and two together and you're like, okay, obviously this person is lying. I don't know why they would. Maybe it was like a fun story they came up with in their head. They told it to some friends or something and then it got out of hand. I think we've all seen people do that where they exaggerate a story and then suddenly people are interested and they're like, oh shoot, now I have to like keep going with the story that's not real. But when you do that, it takes away credibility from people who are telling actual stories, like people who get assaulted at events, people who experience, racism or sexism at events, or people who have scary interactions with other human beings at events. Like, when you tell these fake stories, you are taking away credibility from our entire community, and that makes me very angry and gives me this super icky feeling every time I see it. The other sort of fake drama that I see a lot of is calling out companies who produce whatever cosplay costumes or materials, or like sometimes it's accessories, sometimes it's full-on costumes, but like creating these videos where they are calling out a specific company and saying like, do better, or your costumes suck, or quality has gone down, blah blah blah, like calling out all this stuff. And the thing that really frustrates me about that too is that sometimes these people who are making these videos, they are calling out a specific costume that did not live up to their expectations, when other costumes people have purchased have been just totally fine and like great experience. But for some reason, it's like that one costume was just not very well made. And that's kind of up to you as the cosplayer to do the research in advance and to check things like, what materials are they using? How many photos are posted? Do they talk about sizing? And the biggest one for me is, have other people done reviews of these costumes and what did it look like on an actual person, not a model? And if I buy a costume and I get it and I'm like, wow, this was a total letdown, I do not place that on the company. Like, if I spend $60 on a cosplay costume and it comes with everything, like the entire costume and the accessories, and it's like, I would give it like a grade C to D, like it's just barely passing, I expect that for what I paid. That is not the cost of a really amazing costume. That is the cost of a beginner level or a base pattern costume that you're going to like transform or change later. I really don't like it when people do these calling out videos saying like, oh, Doki Doki Cosplay is a really crappy company that produces bad costumes. They don't. They produce costumes that are between lower to mid tier. That is like their thing. That is what they're known for. I have bought costumes from them and actually really like them and thought they were great quality. If you get a bad costume, the other thing is that sometimes it's not the company, it is the actual creator of the costume, because some companies are not solely produced by like the same factories or warehouses. Sometimes it is like a collaboration. So it might be that one costume was custom made by like a factory that just doesn't do very good jobs. But it's on you as the cosplayer to do that research. And calling out a company does absolutely nothing. It doesn't protect the community, because the people who would be buying those costumes typically are the people who need to save money. And they're like, I know I can't afford like an S tier costume. I can only afford like a C plus costume, but I'm okay with that. So you're kind of like shaming the company, but you're also shaming the cosplayers who would normally buy those costumes. Does that make sense? Okay, the next topic of fake drama I want to bring up is people using personal issues to try to call out other creators or cosplayers. And that also includes getting everyone's involvement or opinion on just really stupid matters. Like really, guys, things that don't matter. They don't matter at all. They're stupid, they're dumb. Not everyone needs to have an opinion on them or be involved with them. Now, what I want to bring up with the using your personal issues to try to call out other creators or cosplayers, you will notice that there are many like semi-famous or semi-well-known cosplayers out there who have kind of created like this network where there's a lot of cosplayers who are collaborating with each other at events, like as judges with each other, or doing events like together, or have created like a learning network or some sort of business transaction in between all of each other. When you have that happen in any other sort of industry, there is a level of professionalism that is expected. And it's kind of interesting to me too, because social media is the one sort of business platform where I have noticed they actually want people to not be professional. They want people to be chaotic and get in trouble and get canceled, because it gets them a ton of views on their social media posts. So it's almost like the industry that you're a part of is actually against you. Like they want you to end up in a worse spot than you are now, because it gets them views. So I have seen a lot of cosplayers who get into an argument with another cosplayer or a cosplayer group. It can be over anything. It can be over little personal issues. It can be over fighting. It can be over events where like two judges were not aligned in how they do judging of costumes, whatever it is. But guys, we need to get rid of this stupid drama between these cosplayers that has nothing to do with anyone else. But you'll notice they always try to make it public. Like, I had this experience with another cosplayer and everyone needs to know about it. Here's my story, part 1, 2, 3. Guys, they're doing that for the drama, for the views. That is not actual issues going on that anyone needs to be involved with except for them. And also, when people fight behind the scenes with events about not getting paid enough, or maybe the event wasn't organized up to their standards or expectations, stuff like that, that is one of the things that usually people are like, ooh, okay, well, I didn't have a great experience, so I just won't go back next year. The end. And you just move on. But the fake drama aspect has created people like actually creating posts and storylines and videos and like all this stuff about it, because it's fake drama. It's like stirring up all this dust into the air, and now everyone's eyes are clouded and everyone's confused and everyone's involved and everyone has an opinion. And it's like, no one needed to know this business but you and the other people who are actually involved, or the organizers or the event itself. So yeah, fake drama just gives me a complete ick. If it is something where the creator sincerely wants other people to know of something going on, like I said, feminism is important to me. So if there is sexist stuff going on, like if people are being treated inappropriately or being told things based on their sex, that is not appropriate at all. If there's racism going on, if there is organizers who are actually stealing or doing things like that are actually illegal, like those things you might want to bring up with the community to be like, hey, I just want to warn you guys, like I went to this and I thought it was dangerous, or I went to this event and the organizer said something to me that other people had also experienced, and I'm wondering if anyone else out there has, like, could we get a group together? Those things make sense. Not the, I wanted to get paid X amount of money for this event and they only offered me this amount and that's not enough. Like, it's your business, but like it's private business. It's not really part of the community. Okay. Next, we are going to go into the next part of things that give me a complete ick. And guys, I could not make this video without bringing up problematic cosplay costumes. And I am a person where I'm like, I love the costumes that are like hilarious, like based off of memes, based off of relevant events. When that rat was in the New York subway dragging the piece of pizza up the stairs, I saw so many cosplayers that cosplayed the rat. I thought that was hilarious. But we have a very large section of the cosplay community which has unfortunately slid into very problematic costumes. So I'm going to talk about two different types because there are so many different types of problematic costumes. I've done a video about it before where I kind of deep dived into it, and eventually I'm going to do like a secondary video, but specifically these two types of cosplayers give me a complete ick. The first one is the cosplayers who post really strange content where you're like, how is this a cosplay costume? Or are they posting this in the right place? Or like, am I missing something? Like something feels really off about these pictures or these videos. And it's always people who end up in the fetish community or trying to gain traction for their OnlyFans. Now, normally I don't really care about that sort of stuff, but like I said in my previous video, the cosplay community is not a 21 and up community. We are a community of all ages, like all types of people. And when you keep that in mind, like posting adult content on like public algorithms and Instagram and Facebook pages and forums and stuff that may include people who are underage is really freaking gross. And what people will do is they will post strange content that is technically appropriate, but leaving little bits and crumbs and pieces that start to point you towards private content that is definitely not appropriate. And it's there in the algorithms to pique the interest of people who would go and like find that stuff. But the problem is that our cosplay community is not 100% about that. And I would go as far to say that cosplay is not about that at all. And if you were doing that sort of content, you have passed into a different area that is not considered cosplay anymore. It's considered like something else, like something more adult. Cosplay is supposed to be costume play. And yes, there is like some adult aspect in some areas of that, but once you go fully into that, you need to like exit the rest of the community and go find your own kind of people. That's not meant for the public community. Obviously, because cosplay conventions have rules against like what you're allowed to wear and in what way and how much you're allowed to show and like what you're allowed to publicly do while you're there. It's why they got rid of yaoi paddles, guys. Like, were they funny when we were like 15, 16? Yeah, but then you get older and you go, I don't know how I feel about a 14-year-old being involved with this, or like, you know, going to these group events. Like, I don't know. There's just some stuff that gets really weird the more you think about it. The other type of cosplay costumes that just give me a complete ick are the lowest effort cosplay costumes I have ever seen. And when I'm talking low effort, I mean like someone puts on like a purple t-shirt and a wig and they're like, I'm this character now. and they just sit there like this in their bedroom. They don't try, they don't do anything. And I get it, guys, like, I think it's really cool that the cosplay community has like attracted so many people, and we have a very large community now, like a lot of people in it, and we are very welcoming of every type of person and every type of cosplayer, whether they're a beginner or like an actual pro. But if you were going to do cosplay, you were doing it because there is a passion and a love of that character, and I would hope that you would try to actually make the costume or do something out of the realm that is your normal, even if it doesn't look great, as long as you actually try. What I don't like it is when people don't try at all. There's no effort put into it. They didn't like make a costume, they didn't buy a costume, they didn't commission a costume. They're literally wearing like a t-shirt and they're like, I'm a cosplayer. And they always say, please be nice, please like and upvote this. I'm a beginner, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's kind of obvious that they're not a cosplayer. They saw the community, they were like, oh, there's a lot of people in here, they have friends, there's like a good sense of connection here, so like I want to be a part of this even though I don't really care about any of this stuff. The absolutely lowest like requirement for being in the cosplay community is you gotta like something that's in here. You gotta like anime, you gotta like video games, you gotta like subcultures that are within here, stylistic cultures, art styles, like anything. It just has to be something. But if you don't like anything about this community and you're not involved in it in any way and you're not going to put any effort in, then you will find the community can be quite mean and does not like that. Mostly because a lot of cosplayers take a ton of time and energy to do their art form, and they don't like it when they're seeing people posting like that on their pages that are meant for people that actually do need help or actually do need recommendations or whatever. Okay, so we are going to go into the very last part of this video where I am going to talk about the most important icks that I have. Now, there is this ick that I think we have to talk about, which is the cosplay lifestyle icks. And this section is so important. Please, please, please watch this. When we are talking about lifestyle sort of stuff, like aesthetic stuff, how you live your life, what you collect, what you do with it, like all that stuff, people use social media to compare their life to other people. And in the cosplay community, that has never really been a problem up until probably the past 10 years, where social media influencers have come in and they have promoted things like hurting themselves for cosplay, con crunch that makes you feel extreme amounts of anxiety and stress, interacting with other people in like inappropriate ways, like all this stuff. So let's go into it. First off, let's talk about what I just said, promoting things like con crunch as normal habits, which is having a lifestyle that you show off, where you say the part of going to the convention and having fun is spending the week before being stressed and anxious out of your mind and feeling like there is an extreme pressure to have something con worthy to wear. And if you don't finish it in time, or you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong, or you won't have as good of a time. Now, I am putting this out here in like obvious terms because the way people present it is so much more like fun and exciting and silly. They're like, guys, I had to bring my sewing machine to the hotel with me because I'm still sewing my costume. Guys, follow along with me. It's 10 p.m. the night before the convention and I've just messed up my wig, like all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, first off, the only reason people have done con crunch in the past was because we were young, broke teenagers. We didn't have time in between homework to actually do costumes, or we didn't have like the money to do things until like that day on payday. Like that stuff was not fun. It was survival. It was survival to do cosplay in any way, shape, or form at all. Now, I've seen a lot of people doing insane amounts of very detailed work where I'm like, okay, guys, You knew about this event months and months and months in advance. You planned out your costume, you knew what you were going to do. No one forced you to decide to make a ball gown the week before the convention. If you decide to do that, okay, cool, but like, yeah, of course you are going to be stressed out of your mind. Of course you are not going to be happy. Of course you are going to be feeling this way, but maybe like that's not on the community, maybe that's on you. But also, is it very responsible to share that and show other people that's what they should be doing, or that it is fun or exciting in some way? It's kind of like the people who kind of get off on being stressed and anxious. Now, one of the things that really makes this super icky too is that a large part of our community deals with mental health issues like depression or extreme anxiety. And promoting this lifestyle is also promoting people to relapse into bad things that we are trying to get people out of and away from. I myself am very anxious. Like, before I go to a convention, I always have dreams that I've left my wig at home, or that I forgot a piece of my costume, or that the convention was actually 4 weeks earlier than it really is. Like, those stressful dreams that you get, I always get those. But when I make a costume, it's on me. It's on me to figure out timing and detailing, and do I have the money for it, and do I have the time for it? And like, okay, the convention's 6 months out, like SoccerCon. It's 6 months from right now. I know it is. If I want to do a costume, I need to start now because I want to take it nice and slow. I don't want to worry about it. I'm not going to stress about it. That's stupid. There is no reason to do that. Okay, the next thing about cosplay lifestyle that is just super icky when you think about it is injuring yourself for your costume. Guys, are we like... I talked about this in a past video where I wore a pair of shoes that really hurt my feet when I did Aubrey, like KDA Aubrey for the first time, and how I thought, you know, it's not a big deal. Like, this costume is really fun. It's worth a single, 10 hours of pain that day or whatever it was. I broke both of my big toenails to the point where it took me over a year to grow out a new toenail on both of my feet. And it was horrible. It was really, really bad. Like, I thought at first the shoes and the tights had stained my toes when I took them off, like way later on. But no, it was bruises because I had bruised and broken both my toenails so bad, they were actually damaged. And things like that are not meant to happen. If you are wearing a cosplay costume and you've taken the time and effort and energy to actually like make it or buy it or whatever, you gotta go that extra length and research things like, how do I make this so I can use the bathroom? How do I make this so it doesn't hurt to wear it? Or like, I put this together and it's really uncomfortable. What do I do? Like, help. You got to go that extra length. You can't just go, oh, it hurts when I wear this corset, but I guess I'll still wear it all day long anyways, because that's how people end up in the hospital with injuries, or people like actually damaging their bodies. I've also seen a lot of people making cosplay costumes and saying things like, oh, I stopped using my stick for when I do like glue projects and I just burn my fingers in the hot glue. Because, haha, cosplay life, am I right, guys? And I'm thinking like, no, normal cosplayers do not stick their fingers in hot glue on purpose. Does it accidentally happen? Yes, occasionally, but like, you do it once or twice, you're like, oh, damn, that hurt. Okay, that's it. I'm going on Amazon. I'm going to buy those stupid little silicone sticks for like $10. And then you use them, it doesn't happen again. So when people promote that, like, oh yeah, you're always getting hurt and all this stuff's happening. I heard a story recently about a girl who was making a ball gown right before a convention. She was very, very stressed out because there was about 20,000 layers she had to do. And she was using someone's, I don't know if it was hers or like a family member's like industrial sort of sewing machine. And the hammer came down and the nail actually, or the needle actually went down through her finger. And she ended up having to go to the emergency room. And in my head, I was thinking like, okay, well, yeah, you're using like an actual heavy piece of machinery equipment. It is a sewing machine, but it is like warehouse level equipment. And you're doing it in a very like hurried, irresponsible sort of way where you are very stressed out and very anxious. So can you see things like con crunch like actually lead to injuries? Or you don't have time to try on your costume. You don't realize it hurts until the day you wear it. And you're like, oh, shoot, what have I done? all it takes is a little extra time and planning, calming yourself down and going, ruining my life, my health, everything. It's not worth it for a costume that I'm going to wear for a day or two. Now, the other part of the lifestyle ick that I see a lot, and I really wish people would talk about this, especially with like how everyone's doing right now in the US, which is not so great, is spending totally insane amounts of money for costumes or events, but they never address the fact that it is so unsustainable, and this is like a once in a lifetime sort of thing for most people. So I've seen a lot of people making like Infinity Nikki sort of outfits. I'm talking multiple layers, detailing, beading work, all this stuff. And as they're going through their walkthroughs about how they make things, I am actually totaling it up in my head, and I'm like, oh, okay, we've reached over $1,000 now. We're gonna talk about that? Are we gonna bring it up? Oh, we're not? Okay. So we're just gonna gloss over that fact. I think in any other hobby, if you were to spend a specific amount of money, people would be like, whoa, you got this brand or this item, like that is known for being like such a luxurious item. But in cosplay, because we're making a lot of our own stuff, some people don't realize how expensive like certain fabrics can be, or how hard they are to actually buy. Like if you live near a massive major city with a fabric district like Los Angeles or New York, you might be a little bit luckier than someone who has to, say, buy everything online, because they're gonna have to pay like a premium price plus shipping for it. There's no district or warehouses to go down and dig through. And there's a lot of little things that end up just really, really adding up. Like when you're making a full set of armor, that is tons of foam you have to buy. I never see anyone talking about like, this is how much money I ended up spending on foam before I even started. Or the fact of when you're starting a new type of project, you have to go out and purchase all the tools. Like when I did Elderwood Aubrey, that costume was not super huge, but guys, I spent like almost $600 putting it together, because I had to go out and buy like heat guns and painting tools. I had to get all the foam cutting stuff because I didn't have any foam cutting stuff. I had to get like base lines, like the bra part was like a base bra that I had to buy, like all this stuff. And no one's mentioning the fact that the bill goes higher, higher, higher with everything that you have to buy. So I really get this ick when people are creating like, oh, let's make like a historically accurate 18th century ball gown. Okay, first off, let's go buy 15 yards of this really nice textured fabric. But what they don't bring up is the fact that that fabric is like $35 to $40 a yard. So like, let's do the math right now. Okay, so if it's $40 a yard and you have to get 15 yards of it, that's $600. $600 for fabric before you buy the thread, you get your scissors sharpened, you get whatever else you need. Maybe there's beading, maybe there's detailed work. $600. In what world is that normal or sustainable to drop that kind of money? And I'm totally fine with people wanting to do things that are just crazy and luxurious like that. But here's the thing, if you bring it up to the community, you have to bring that up. That is not something you can gloss over. That's not something you have to try to make like normal. And by not bringing it up, you're kind of like letting people find this little icky surprise later when they're like, I want to recreate that. She made it look really fun and easy. And then you go online and you look up the fabric and then you're like, holy crap. Okay, never mind, not doing that then. So anyways, this is all the things that I find very icky that give me the ick in our cosplay community. And I'm really curious to see what you guys think about the matter too. Like, have you guys noticed this? Have you experienced any of these things or seen them in your algorithms? Have you seen anyone else comment on them? Because sometimes I want to comment, but I'm like, nope, not going to give them the attention. I'm just going to ignore them and try to get them off of my Instagram so they are not flooding my feed. So anyways, if you guys have questions, comments, whatever, please leave them below. I will reply. I reply to everything. And I will be back again for another video after spooky Halloween. So yeah, see you guys later and have a good night.